Coming up on CBC Vancouver News. As the FIFA World Cup approaches, a sudden clearing out of False Creek.
And so it's really surprising that when FIFA rolls around, all of a sudden, with a snap of a finger, something happens about it.
Why, after so many years, boats have been ordered to move out. Plus, what will the lasting impact of the World Cup be, if any?
And now they have this drop-in pitch where they can play and have access and have mini games, it's phenomenal.
A look at two legacy FIFA fields. And with a spike in motorcycle deaths in BC, calls for caution and preparation before hitting the road.
This is CBC Vancouver News.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Michelle Ghoussoub. If you're used to seeing boats anchored in False Creek, you might be wondering where they've all gone. Well, they've been forced out ahead of the FIFA World Cup. The city says it's for emergency access and marine safety during the tournament. But as Michelle Ghoussoub reports, some advocates have concerns about where the boats and those on board will end up.
False Creek, normally dotted with anchored boats, is looking much emptier today, and it will remain that way for the next month. Amidst FIFA, an interim order from Transport Canada bans most boats from being in the area of False Creek east of the Cambie Bridge, with exceptions for passenger ferries, those docked at the marina, and in emergency situations.
And so it's really surprising that when FIFA rolls around, all of a sudden, with a snap of a finger, something happens about it.
The False Creek Friends Society has been asking for more regulation of the boats anchored in the inlet for years.
It's been difficult for regulators to find a pathway to address anchoring, address responsible vessel management in False Creek. There seems to be no enthusiasm to find a solution.
The Vancouver Police Department said in a statement it worked proactively with boat owners in False Creek to have them moved by June 1st, but did not specify where these boats went, and that has some worried.
The summer storms, for example, they go well into early July. You can get storm conditions in English Bay.
Morgane Auger resides on a boat anchored in English Bay. She describes her boat as large and sturdy, but says for smaller boats, it can be dangerous to be out in unprotected waters this time of year.
We've all seen it, all those boats that crash onto the rocks, and then the taxpayers have to pay for this. These boats, they crash on the rocks because they were forced to leave False Creek.
The order is in place until July 8th, the day after Vancouver's final World Cup game. Michelle Ghoussoub, CBC News, Vancouver.
Motorcycle deaths nearly tripled in BC this spring, according to the BC Coroner Service. As Keir Junos reports, riders are being asked to refresh their skills before heading out on the road this summer.
One of the first things we should check over on our motorcycle would be the lights, turn signals, high beams, low beam, the horn.
Motorcycle instructor Ambrose Ho loves riding on BC's highways, but he's mindful of how dangerous it can be.
So one of the core principles I have riding on our highways is I always expect something to happen around a corner.
The BC Coroner Service says motorcyclist deaths spiked between March and May this year. 14 people died, compared to 5 in the same period last year. The Coroner Service says many of those recent deaths involved collisions with animals, a situation Ho says he's seen through dashcam footage. He calls it target fixation.
And all you see is their hands tensing up, holding their breath, and then the motorcycle just continues hitting towards the hazard.
Other recent deaths stems from riders poorly navigating curves. Ho says that can be addressed through learning techniques like trail braking, where riders can take curves more safely with improved traction.
Some people think is a racing skill set. It's not. It's a normal riding skills to avoid something around a corner or to prepare your motorcycle physics, let's call it, for situations like that. Another technique will be swerving skills or emergency braking.
Meanwhile, U.S. Police Sergeant Andrew Lever says this is a good time for riders to refresh all their skills.
If you haven't been out on the road since maybe last summer, it might be a good idea to get out in an empty parking lot, practice your U-turns, practice your emergency stops, just to get those skills back up.
And for other road users, he says to double-check your blind spots and give motorcyclists extra space. Keir Junos, CBC News, Surrey.
Premier David Eby says it's deeply concerning that a man who killed his 3 children nearly 20 years ago has been granted a conditional discharge. Alan Schoenborn stabbed and smothered his 3 young children in Merritt in 2008, but was found not criminally responsible for the murders due to a mental disorder.
The not criminally responsible by reason of mental disorder provisions under the criminal code have resulted in a system that continually re-victimizes the family.
Eby says he will speak with the federal justice minister about the changes to the criminal code. A Vancouver Island man accused of perpetrating a $300 million Ponzi scheme has been arrested in the country of Georgia. Greg Martel is a mortgage broker from Victoria who for years sold completely made-up real estate investments, promising extravagant rates of return, sometimes as high as 100% on an annualized basis. Early in, investors were paid out with money from those who joined the scheme later on, until the entire fraud collapsed 3 years ago and Martel went on the run. CBC News has now learned he's been arrested in Georgia. Martel has not been charged criminally, but arrest warrants have been issued in Canada and the United States. Canada does not have a formal extradition treaty with Georgia. The Heiltsuk Nation says it has reached a $12.2 million settlement over a fuel spill in its waters. It happened in 2016 when a tugboat ran aground near Bella Bella in 2016. Our Catherine Garrett shared the details with host Jessica Chung earlier.
The Heiltsuk say it is a very important step in what has been a very long legal battle. In October 2016, the United States-owned tug Nathan E. Stewart ran aground in the Seaforth Channel near Bella Bella after the second mate of the ship fell asleep during his watch. An estimated 110,000 liters of diesel and another 2,000 liters of lubricants were spilled into an important area for harvesting in the nation's territory. The spill affected marine life, food gathering areas, and access to a place that holds deep cultural meaning, the nation said. At the time, the spill also threatened dozens of species harvested in the area, including manila clam beds that provided income of up to $200,000 a year for the community, they say. Just this year, they testified they're still feeling the impacts with over $23 million in recovery costs still. And they say it goes to show the dangers of having oil spills in culturally and economic important sites for the nation.
Yeah, and even just seeing the pictures there of, you can imagine the amount of impact that it had. So what are the details of this agreement?
So the Heiltsuk say the settlement also names the second mate of the ship in addition to the Kirby Corporation. According to the Heiltsuk, the company will make a payment of $12.2 million to the nation. Members of the ceremony will also attend members of the company will also attend a washing ceremony and healing ceremony in Bella Bella. They have also agreed not to travel through the inside waters of Heiltsuk territory without first informing the nation and discussing a memorandum of understanding on how it would operate in those waters. And the company responsible for the spill says they're committed to resolving this in a good faith way.
All right, well, thank you so much for bringing us that story, Catherine. Really appreciate it.
Ottawa is rolling out the new Canada Groceries and Essentials benefit, with top-up payments beginning to land in Canadian bank accounts today.
This is something we had promised in order to help Canadians alleviate these tough times. This is a one-time top-up initially, and then a 25% structured top-up for every quarter going July 1st onwards.
A single person will be eligible for an annual benefit of $679. A married couple can receive up to $890. The FIFA Men's World Cup gets going in Vancouver next week, putting soccer in the spotlight this summer. But what lasting legacies will the tournament deliver when it comes to development of sport in the city and the province? Karen Larson has the story.
It's a training night at Point Grey Secondary for teams from the city's largest amateur soccer club, Vancouver Athletic FC, where anticipation has been building for the kickoff of the World Cup.
It's really getting to the stretch where people are getting excited, a lot of inspiration for these kids are getting inspired by the teams coming, not just Canada, but all the stars from all the teams.
With 3,400 members, Vancouver Athletic is bursting at the seams. The World Cup will likely inspire even more kids to join. Great for the sport, but a challenge in Vancouver where there's just not enough places to play.
Right now, there's not. the demand far exceeds supply for the number of artificial tourists in the city. And as I said, other surrounding municipalities are putting them in at a faster rate than Vancouver is.
We can only grow as much as our infrastructure allows. That is one of the biggest focus for us, is that we are able to leverage this event to bring awareness to the infrastructure gap that exists.
The World Cup won't bridge that gap, and unlike the 2010 Olympics, there won't be a list of legacies left behind. An exception is Killarney Park in East Vancouver, where a previously swampy field has been turned into an official FIFA training venue. Right now, it's a high-security zone behind a tall fence, but our drone got a bird's-eye view of the full-sized natural grass pitch built to specifications of the playing surfaces at all 16 World Cup venues. When FIFA leaves town and the fences come down, the field reverts back to local user groups. Out in Langley, a smaller legacy project has sparked a big response. This FIFA mini pitch opened in April and has become a hive of soccer fun.
Brothers and sisters are playing. You have the school kids. You have a lot of families that just can't afford, on these economic pressures, to join organized associations. And now they have this drop-in pitch where they can play and have access and have mini games. It's phenomenal. It's an amazing resource.
A sign of things to come. BC Soccer plans to build another 20 mini pitches around the province in the next few years. Karen Larson, CBC News, Vancouver.
Water restrictions are kicking in for much of the region next week. Starting Monday, Metro Vancouver and Nanaimo will move to Stage 3. The North Okanagan Regional District implemented Stage 3 restrictions on June 3rd. That means no lawn watering, no decorative water features, no personal pressure washers, and no filling pools or hot tubs. The Cowichan Valley Regional District started its Stage 2 restrictions on June 2nd. Other cities in the province, like Penticton and Chilliwack, remain under current water restrictions. Steve Jung joins us now for a first look at the weather. Steve, what are you looking at?
Well, Michelle, coming out of that last thing we were just talking about when it comes to water restrictions around the province, we actually do have the latest information here from the government of BC regarding drought conditions around the province. As we can see, it's not looking the greatest around the south coast. We have level 2 or 3 for the south coast, 3 or 4 on Vancouver Island, and we see some higher drought condition levels in other parts of the province as well. But hopefully that means hopefully we'll have a little bit of relief coming in the next couple of days, especially as we get through the weekend. Lots more precipitation coming our way, especially as we get closer to Monday, more for the southeast and the south coast and Vancouver Island. We'll get into that and your 5-day later in the show.
Thanks so much, Steve. Mosquitoes are part of a BC summer. While annoying, they're not usually considered dangerous. But new research shows with a warming climate, the types of mosquitoes that call BC home is changing and bringing along new risks, including pediatric encephalitis. We headed out into the field where researchers are trapping them to find out what's biting.
A good night, you did really well. You get around 1,000. Because of climate change, you're getting mosquito species that we normally don't see moving north. And then also colleagues at the Public Health Agency of Canada have done some modeling showing that certain invasive mosquito species, because of climate change, the warmer days are making it habitable to live in the lower Fraser Valley. And then also new pathogens, which we traditionally would not see in Canada, are also able to be present in that area. So when you have both the pathogen and the mosquito, so the mosquito that's going to transmit it and the pathogen, should they cross paths, that's when you could have a situation where those pathogens might run across, let's say, a human being. And we kind of tap the inside because the mosquitoes will be on the inside of the bag here, and we really want to make sure that those are all down inside there. So we tap it, we tie it off just like this. Mosquito habitat-wise, I'm looking for a park that has access to standing water or some kind of a water source. There's good coverage. Maybe areas that are forested and not open. Looking at an area where there is less wind because mosquitoes can be blown away, basically, is what it comes down to. And then also looking at lots of people, is the chance for an interaction present? Are people going to be in the park when the mosquitoes could be? So kind of that dawn and dusk area. If a malaria were to turn up, we can say, well, we have the right mosquito here, and those mosquitoes are located in this general region.
Coming up, we take you inside the new Oak Ridge Mall, where the food court is offering up quite a different menu. We'll get reactions on the upscale options at Time Out Vancouver. It has been a week since the much talked about Oak Ridge Park Shopping Mall opened. The mall features one central food court, the Time Out Market, which aims to bring together the best of local cuisine. But does it deliver? The CBC's Lian Young went to find out.
We're about to go into Time Out Market. This is at the brand new Oak Ridge Park that just opened. This is mid-afternoon on a weekday and it's bonkers busy in here. There's been so much hype about this mall and particularly about this food court. We wanted to talk to people and find out what they thought of the selection, experience, and the value.
It's been like $30 for lunch. It's a little bit high. Yeah, for us.
How often do you think you would come here?
Not every day, not every day.
Once a month for me.
This one I thought was worth it. This one not so much. These things are stale, they're chewy. At least should be crunchy.
What do we pay?
50.
$50.
I mean, it's pretty good. I would say it's pretty good.
You're kind of paying for the experience.
Yeah, the food quality was really good, but I feel like it's almost like restaurant quality, but you're not getting the restaurant experience because you're not sitting down and enjoying your meal like the same way with a food court.
So Time Out Market isn't meant to be your traditional food court. You won't see a fast food joint here. They're meant to be a finely curated selection representing the best a city has to offer. And they have locations around the world, in Lisbon, in Barcelona, in Osaka, and now here in Vancouver. So do people feel like they delivered on that promise? Well, it seemed most people enjoyed their time here. However, there were some complaints, and it's kind of the usual things you would hear whenever a new spot opens in the city.
We came in earlier, so we didn't have any lineup, but the food lineup was half an hour. Yeah, it's pretty long.
They wouldn't take an order at the first place because it was stopping orders. Wait 50 minutes and then come back and order.
Like mentally, it looks like it's a food court, so like you're thinking it's going to be fast food, but it's not as fast as fast food. But yeah, the quality is definitely better.
And then what did you think of the value that you were getting on the plate in terms of pricing?
It's definitely on the higher end, but for the experience, for the type of quality, I think it's it's worth it.
I think there's a really good variety, like there's a lot of dessert places, a lot of different cultures, so I feel like it's a pretty accurate representation of like Vancouver and its food scene.
I think it was worth it to come here, but it wouldn't be like an everyday kind of thing.
So there are 20 different restaurants in here. Some of these places are from Michelin recommended spots. Others are on some of the world's best restaurants lists. And you're not going to be paying food court prices. They're going to be closer to restaurant style prices. But the chefs here say there's a reason for that. Tell me about this piece and why it's a $14 ice cream sandwich.
Yeah, so we use actually French chocolate, the Valrhona chocolate, that is well known for its ingredients and the quality of the chocolate. It just kind of melts really nicely in your mouth. That's why it is costing a little bit more, especially with the tariffs and all the cocoa butter pricing rising up.
Do you guys think about pricing when you were thinking about the menu?
And we wanted to make sure that two things. One is you can have the croc burger, which we call it the burger de maison or the crocodile, or you can also do a cheeseburger for $13.99.
We have over 35 items at La Crocodile, and here we narrow down just a burger and a hot dog and fries. So a little bit of that pressure is gone, but at the same time, the standard is still there for all the cooks here.
We got a little bit creative with some of the proteins, tried to highlight some new things, but yeah, it should be exactly what you expect at the Lunch City, but just here at Time Out in Oak Ridge.
I know that it's a food court, but at the same time we want it to be a good representation of Pigeon and be able to give the things that people really love and want to have at Pigeon, and maybe don't come down to the Gastown location as much as they used to.
And this is nothing like the downtown east side, my friend. How does it feel to be opening in a place like this where, luxury is the name of the game?
We've basically doubled our operation by coming here, and when the neighborhood goes through its wax and weans and all those things, this place will hopefully be able to keep everybody employed and keep working and doing all the things.
So if you are planning on coming, don't expect cheap eats. This is a fancy food court after all, and give yourself some time because you just might find yourself lining up. Leanne Young, CBC News, Vancouver.
An overcast day near Campbell River, looking at the day that was in the waters of Discovery Passage. Steve Jung has your full weekend forecast coming up.
This is Vancouver is a new CBC podcast where we explore the issues, the stories, and the people that make this place home. Listen to This is Vancouver wherever you get your podcasts.
The Liberal government's one-time GST rebate top-up has started landing in some bank accounts. It's part of the transition to the federal program, Canada Groceries and Essentials Benefit, which begins in July. It aims at helping low to middle-income Canadians with affordability, but as Olivia Stefanovich reports, some critics say it doesn't go far enough.
The Prime Minister touting the new Groceries and Essentials rebate.
We are laser focused on affordability for Canadians, for Canadian families.
A one-time GST top-up, providing hundreds of dollars for low to middle income Canadians, delivered on a day of some encouraging signs for the discouraging economy.
Big transformations, they don't happen overnight, they take some time.
Mark Carney says the surprise gain of 88,000 jobs last month shows his government's plan is working.
We understand what's going on. We have listened to Canadians.
But the opposition disagrees.
Madam Speaker, having the best job numbers in Canada shouldn't be like having the best bobsledding team in Jamaica.
The Conservatives continue to blame Carney for 2 quarters of shrinking GDP, putting Canada in a technical recession.
The government's putting out gimmicks, but they're not really solving the problems.
When you're living on a lower income, food can consume more than 20% of your budget, sometimes even more.
Advocates say the groceries rebate is a step in the right direction, but it doesn't match the severity of the food insecurity crisis.
The benefit as it is designed is difficult to access, and again, it isn't generous enough.
One of the things that have always, I think, been a vulnerability for the Carney government is that it's so focused on macroeconomic issues, big growth, big projects, things that will take time, and the average person may not actually feel a benefit in their lives.
This pollster says the government has to offer more of these kind of microeconomic responses. And so far, he says they're paying off.
The Carney government's doing much better than it has done in a long time on that, and certainly better than the Trudeau government was perceived to be doing.
But with the cost of living among one of the most major concerns for Canadians, it could also turn into a vulnerability for Carney, who was voted in on his brand of economic competence. Olivia Stefanovich, CBC News, Ottawa.
The month of May was a good time to be looking for a job. Statistics Canada says tens of thousands of new positions were added to the economy last month, the first significant increase in employment since last fall. It includes a significant number of jobs here in BC. The CBC's Angie Seth has more on the latest job numbers.
A big bounce back in May with around 88,000 jobs added across the country, virtually all of them in full-time positions, clawing back the losses seen in January, February, and April. The gains caused the unemployment rate to fall to 6.6% in May, down from 6.9% in April. Employment increased in several sectors, notably in construction and culture and recreation. However, while we saw gains in those industries, there were some significant losses in others.
When we look at professional services and the services side more broadly, I do worry about AI and what kind of repercussions and disruptions we'll have in the labor market short term associated with that. So many things happening. I think if we can see a little bit of job growth as we've seen in this month, holding steady, I think certainly that's good news. We just have to see how all of this pans out in the next few months and years.
There are also decreases in wholesale and retail trade, but things were also faring much better for younger job seekers, with the youth unemployment rate dropping almost a full percentage point. Still, with little to no change in the population, expectations for more job growth in the months ahead are low.
The overall pace of job growth over the past year has been pretty slow, but it's been slow in line with flat population as well. And so I think more of the same is my expectation. And that's good news in the sense that we're not sliding down, but we want to see the job seeker market, kick into stronger gear after a few weak years. And I'm not sure we're going to see that either.
Next week, the Bank of Canada will release the interest rate. Experts say they do not expect a change from the previous 2.25%, at least for now. Angie Seth, CBC News, Toronto.
For most teenagers and even adults, speaking publicly is nerve-wracking and takes courage. For one Ontario high school student, a recent speech at a Pride event proved especially difficult and upsetting. Sheehan Desjardins has more on the teen's moment on stage that was interrupted and then censored by the mayor.
I have experienced many instances of exclusion and discrimination.
17-year-old Sophie Mills thought their speech at their hometown's Pride flag raising would be a moment of change and acceptance. But at one point, they were cut off by the mayor.
Sophie, I'm not going to allow you to continue this disrespect. I was humiliated publicly. Change didn't happen. They went backwards. They did change, and they went backwards.
Sophie's speech referenced this meme posted by Councillor Adam Cooper last year, which was criticized by some members of the 2S LGBTQ+ community, who called it transphobic. The co-founder of a local pride group says the mayor's intervention could have a wider impact.
I think that snowball effect could also play out in ways where we don't see the queer community represented as much going forward, or a silencing effect.
Mayor Jan Liggett stands by her decision, saying this was not the time to open old wounds, that Councillor Cooper has taken sensitivity training, and the city pre-vetted a different speech from Sophie.
Sophie has to take some responsibility by the fact that they did not let staff know that they were going to do a different speech. If they had have done that, then this would never have happened.
As for an apology,
I think that would be between Sophie and I.
For now, Sophie says they're still waiting.
Saying something uncomfortable and you get silenced, it's a pretty good indicator that you've hit a spot, that you need to keep pushing at that to see what will happen.
And Sophie plans to do just that, saying the interruption has only strengthened their resolve to keep speaking out. Sheehan Desjardins, CBC News, Cambridge, Ontario.
A bit of a scare for the astronauts on the International Space Station. NASA ordered its crew members to briefly take shelter in a docked capsule because of an air leak.
Station Houston on Space to Ground 2 for all USOS crew members. Needs you to execute EMER procedure 3.4. Crew Dragon establish safe haven.
The leak was on the Russian part of the space station. 4 people stayed inside the Crew Dragon capsule while 2 Russian cosmonauts worked to fix the leak. NASA officials say the decision was made out of an abundance of caution. The crew aboard ISS has since resumed regular operations. The section with the leak has been dealing with cracks and other issues for years. Both space agencies are working to resolve the problem. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is calling for face-to-face talks with Vladimir Putin in a renewed bid to end Russia's war on Ukraine. Zelensky published an open letter where he proposed the 2 leaders set a date to meet in a neutral country. As Julia Chapman reports, Putin rejected the idea.
Vladimir Putin's speech focused on his familiar complaints about Western dominance in financial institutions and his insistence that the world is becoming more multipolar. And he presented a rosy perspective of the Russian economy and its development. But the Kremlin had earlier said that if Volodymyr Zelensky wants to meet President Putin, he is welcome to visit Moscow, which is not something the Ukrainian leader is considering. He wants to meet in a neutral third country. The 2 leaders haven't been in the same room since 2019, which was their first and only in-person meeting. Zelensky's letter points to domestic discontent from rising prices, internet restrictions, increasing Ukrainian drone attacks, and growing Russian casualty numbers from the war. Zelensky also makes a jibe about Putin's advancing years, saying after 26 years in power, age is beginning to take its toll. His main message, though, is that the 2 sides should come to a ceasefire and then the leaders should meet in person, particularly because, as he says, America is distracted. Zelensky writes, "We see that the U.S. is fully focused on the issue of Iran, and it would be wrong to simply wait until the war in Europe returns to the center of its attention. Ukraine proposes ending this war through direct engagement between us and you." In response to this letter, President Donald Trump says that the U.S. deserves some of the credit if the two meet. He says it would be great if they did so, but he also insists that both sides need to compromise. Ukraine has been striking deeper into Russian territory with its drone attacks, inflicting damage on its energy infrastructure, including at an oil depot near St. Petersburg as this economic forum got underway earlier this week. Today, Ukraine says it carried out strikes on 5 cargo ships in the Sea of Azov that it claims were stealing Ukrainian grain. But while Moscow may be under some pressure on the battlefield, few experts believe that President Putin will end this war before he sees a benefit to doing so. Julia Chapman, CBC News, London.
Protests in Albania continue over a luxury development linked to Donald Trump's son-in-law. Briar Stewart explains Jared Kushner's ties to the project and why residents across that country don't want it to go ahead.
The protests keep growing in Tirana, Albania. For days, thousands have gathered and at times have clashed with authorities. All over luxury real estate developments linked to Jared Kushner, Donald Trump's son-in-law. He's one of the investors.
Albania belongs only to Albanians, and Albania is not for sale.
At the center of the dispute, proposed resorts along a wild stretch of Albania's coastline and a nearby uninhabited island. Kushner, along with his wife Ivanka Trump, visited the island years ago.
We swam to the islands. We went on a hike, barefoot all the way up to the top, and we were just captivated.
When work started at one of the sites, wire fencing was put up. One person who broke through was seen being dragged by security across the beach. Protesters have adopted the flamingo as their emblem because one of the developments is in an environmentally sensitive area, which is home to the protected bird and other species. Albania's anti-corruption agency launched an investigation into the coastal project. The government has tried to quell the anger, saying the developments would be an economic boost for the former communist country.
The top architects, among the best in the world, the top engineers, landscape architects are engaged.
But many Albanians believe the projects aren't the only thing that needs to be scrapped and say the country's prime minister should go.
They are just protesting because there is no transparency in decision making, there is no democracy, and there is no environmental law being respected.
As for Kushner, he gave up on a development project in Serbia last year because of street protests. And those in Albania vow to keep taking to the streets now. Briar Stewart, CBC News, London.
It's a massive plume of dust and sand, and it's crossing the Atlantic Ocean, bearing down on the U.S. Gulf Coast. Why it might be good news for the storm season ahead, that's next.
So I know when I really like a song if within the first 3 seconds I'm already vibing to it.
Hey, I'm Rohith Joseph. Vibin' is the new show all about discovering great new songs and fresh artists from across BC and beyond.
It's not one person dictating what good music is, it's the community sharing what good music is.
Stream Vibin' on CBC Listen.
A fire that destroyed a Penticton care home under construction last week is being investigated as suspicious. RCMP say investigators were only able to access the site Wednesday, 1 week after the fire that prompted the city to issue an evacuation order and declare a state of local emergency. Mounties are conducting a criminal investigation and say it was possibly deliberately set. The site was supposed to become a 200-bed long-term care facility. Residents of 10 homes nearby were evacuated due to an unstable crane at the site, but have since returned. A massive plume of dust from the Sahara Desert is crossing the Atlantic Ocean, blowing towards the U.S. Gulf Coast. While all that flying sand can lower air quality for the region temporarily, it has some unexpected upsides. CBC's Johanna Wagstaff explains how that dust will help temper an explosive start to the Atlantic hurricane season.
Millions of tons of sand from the Saharan Desert just crossed the Atlantic Ocean. While that might sound like bad news, it might also be the very thing that saves the East Coast from an explosive start to the hurricane season. Here's why. Right now, global sea surface temperatures are running dangerously high, near the record-breaking anomalies we saw back in 2024. Warm ocean water is the high-octane fuel that feeds tropical storm development. But it's also Saharan dust season, and throwing those grains into the mix is like pulling the emergency brake. The Saharan air layer, or the SAL, as us meteorologists call it, stop hurricanes in 3 distinct ways. First, the plume is incredibly dry, holding about 50% less moisture than tropical air. It essentially starves developing systems of water vapor that they need to grow. Second, the dust is carried east from Africa by a powerful mid-level jet stream, which in turn creates intense vertical wind shear, meaning winds are moving at different directions with height. This violent shearing motion tears apart thunderstorms before they can even organize into spinning vortex. Finally, all that dark-colored dust absorbs solar energy, albedo, which keeps the upper atmosphere very warm. And this acts like a lid, blocking the rising air needed to form deep storm clouds. So how often is this dust crossing thousands of kilometers to act as our hurricane shield? NOAA and NASA are tracking the transport from space, and it turns out on average around 700,000 semi-truck loads worth of dust gets transported across the Atlantic each year. There are a lot of different factors that determine if it will be a big dust crossing year or not, including climate change. And its influence is an equally complicated balance. Globally, these intense dust storms drop air quality for billions, but they also carry vital nutrients that fertilize the ocean, soils in far-off continents, and even the Amazon rainforest. Florida and the Deep South should prepare for hazy daytime skies, vivid sunsets, and even red-colored rain. But it will also mean the start of hurricane season stays quiet, just like the forecast predicted for now.
Steve Jung joins us now for a look at the forecast. What are you looking at as we head into this June weekend?
Well, Michelle, we did get an updated infographic from the government of BC regarding drought conditions here in the province. As we can see, it's not looking like the greatest, especially in the south, southeast, and on Vancouver Island. On Vancouver Island, we can see drought levels of about 3 or 4 there on the south coast. That includes Metro Vancouver, drought levels of about 2 or 3, and we're seeing that reflected in other parts of the province as well. But we are heading towards what appears to be a wetter, kind of rainier weekend, so hopefully that'll mean just a little bit of relief. But let's take a look at fire danger around the province as well. This is something else that we've been keeping an eye on, and we can see that large parts of the province right now have actually improved when it comes to fire danger. Low to very low in parts of the north. Just earlier this week, we saw that under moderate to high. Same with Vancouver Island. On north parts of the island, that was under moderate to high fire danger. It's now been downgraded as well to low and very low in some places. It's really the south and southeastern part of the island that has the higher fire danger. danger at this time. Let's take a look at the forecast for precipitation, especially as we get through the weekend. We'll see that rain make its way towards the province, more scattered over much of BC, including up north, but it's really as we get through Monday and Tuesday where we see more of that arriving and covering large patches of the province, including Vancouver Island, up and down the coast and the south and southeast. Let's take a look now at accumulations for the south coast specifically this weekend. We're really not going to get very much on Vancouver Island, but again, it's something, especially as we talk about these areas being under a little bit higher or much higher drought conditions than other parts of the province. We'll see more in the Fraser Valley and in Metro Vancouver, and we'll see some more accumulations as we get through Sunday. Again, some of this might even be falling as just a little bit of snow at those higher elevations. But one thing that we are keeping an eye on for tonight is continued thunderstorm risk in large parts of the province. That carries into tomorrow. As we get through closer to the afternoon, we'll see that reflected in places like Williams Lake. We'll see that on Vancouver Island, Tofino, and Victoria, as well as Kamloops, Kelowna, Golden, and Cranbrook, still under thunderstorm risk as we get towards the afternoon on Saturday. Let's take a look at the 5-day forecast now. We got a possibility of some sun on Saturday and Sunday, but rain and clouds to take us through the first part of the week and as we get to Wednesday.
Thanks so much, Steve.
My pleasure.
We've been talking FIFA World Cup for a long time, and we're just getting started. But what if you don't know much about soccer or you just don't care? Well, we'll break down some of the basics after the break.
Hi, I'm Amy Bell, and this is your CBC Inbox.
Celebrate Filipino Heritage Month with CBC at Pinoy Festival 2026. Join us on June 20th and 21st at Burnaby Swangard Stadium for a weekend of vibrant traditions, live music, authentic food, and community pride. Event info at pinoyfestival.ca. And never miss a special programming series, event, or contest. Subscribe to CBC's e-newsletter and keep connected with us.
Vancouver's newest event venue has officially opened. The Freedom Mobile Arch is introducing a permanent home for live events on the PNE grounds.
Today really signals the start of a new era for the PNE and for how we're going to continue to touch the hearts of British Columbians moving forward. This magnificent structure with its incredible roof is destined to become an icon for music, arts, culture, for the region and for all of British Columbia as we bring in guests from around the world.
The open-air venue has a capacity of up to 10,000, with the seated section closer to the stage and a lawn for general admission tickets at the back. This summer, the venue will host FIFA soccer game, watch parties, PNE Summer Nights concerts, and more.
The FIFA Men's World Cup officially kicks off next week in Mexico City on June 11th. It's a huge moment for millions of soccer fans across the world.
But for others, it might feel a little intimidating. The CBC's Lawrence Watt has put together a quick guide to help you follow along.
Well, the World Cup is coming to Canada, but maybe you don't watch soccer. I mean, you know there's a ball and that people get emotional about penalties, but you don't really care. And that's fine, except is it? Because football is taking over North America, and your family, friends, and your pets are all going to be watching. So, how can you fit in? Or even better, how can you make it sound like you know soccer? Here is an explainer. Canada is co-hosting the World Cup with the US and Mexico. Vancouver is hosting 7 games at BC Place, whilst Toronto is hosting 6. In BC, the government expects around 350,000 visitors for the matches. The province expects to spend $700 million to host the games and make back around $600 million, leaving taxpayers on the hook for roughly $100 million. It's also the first time the Men's World Cup will be played on Canadian soil, meaning even if you don't follow soccer, soccer will follow you. So, here are some questions you may have watching the games. Why do players fall over so much? Players will sometimes fall because they've been fouled by another player or they've been genuinely injured. Other times, it's because a player is exaggerating to win a free kick or slow the game down. Can this be annoying? Yes. Is it part of the sport? Also yes. What is VAR? VAR stands for Video Assistant Referee. It allows the referee to go back in time and slow down footage to help to determine what happened. For instance, was that goal offside? Should a player be disciplined? VAR is meant to help officials get the big calls right. How long does the game go on for? Each game is made up of 2 45-minute halves for a total of 90 minutes. Simple, except not quite. When a player gets injured, celebrates a goal, or takes 40 seconds for a throw-in, the referee adds that time to the end of each half. That is called stoppage time. And depending on the match, that can be an additional time of up to 5 or 13 minutes. Next, let's talk about language. These are things you can say during a match to make your friends say, "Okay, Ronaldo." Here are 5 phrases. Parking the bus. Say this when one team has almost everyone sitting back to defend in their own half. It's not glamorous, but neither is parking at Costco on a Sunday, and sometimes you have to. End-to-end stuff. Say this during a fast-paced match with lots of goal chances at both ends of the pitch. It means nobody is defending properly, but everyone is having fun. He's in his pocket. Say this when a defender is completely shutting down an attacking player, whether that's through winning tackles or cutting off their runs. Top bins. Say this when a player scores a goal by putting the ball into one of the top corners of the net. Absolute scenes. Use this after a late goal, a wild moment, or anything that sends the crowd into chaos. Ideally, the good kind of chaos. Next, let's talk about body language. Here are 3 actions you can replicate while watching the game. When a team looks like they're about to score, take a sharp intake of breath. If a shot looks like it's going in the net but narrowly misses, start a cheer before killing it immediately. And if your team misses a clear chance, you can stand up, place your hands on your head, and look like you just checked your bank statement after a late night out. And that's basically it. You know some of the rules, some of the phrases, even some of the weird stuff. Will this make you a soccer expert? No, not at all. But if you say those things with confidence, it will help you get through a World Cup watch party. And remember, if your team loses, all you need to do is say there's always next time. Lawrence Watt, CBC News, Vancouver.
I got some tips now.
I feel fully ready to take in FIFA. Absolute scenes.
Absolute scenes.
Absolute
Top pins. Thanks for being with us tonight on CBC Vancouver News at 6. You can watch this newscast on CBC Gem, our free app, as well as on YouTube and our website, cbc.ca/BC.
I'll have your next local news at 11 o'clock, right after the National. Have a good night.
Good night.